welcome everyone to the Multifamily and More Expert Series. I'm your host, Jamie Gruber, and we bring you with this series an expert guest who talks about one specific topic related to real estate, mindset, or anything in between. Today's guest is Russell Westcott. He is a real estate entrepreneur, author, inspirational public speaker. He helps real estate investors start, grow, and scale their real estate portfolio or the real estate portfolio of their dreams. He has co-authored 2 best-selling Canadian real estate books, 97 Tips for Canadian Real Estate Investors and Joint Ventures, The Canadian Investor's Guide to Raising Money and Getting Deals Done. We'll learn more about him as we go through today's session. Russell, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Jamie, how's it going, brother?
It's going great. Great to see you.
So I'm looking like guys that are probably watching this might be saying there's an awful lot of glare going on these 2 side-by-side pictures here, right? So we got the bald brothers from another mother going on here.
That's right. I grew it out just to eliminate the glare a little bit.
That's right.
I'm furry.
Yes. Just to differentiate yourself from the really bald guy that you're talking to.
That's right. So Russell and I met through a good friend of mine, Michael Bugg, who is an investor up in Canada doing incredible things. And Russell is doing some amazing things. I mean, without getting too ahead of ourselves here, I know that you speak, you do presentations, and we're going to focus our time on that today. But to the point where you shared a stage, and maybe you'll say I'm overstating because I know you're a humble guy, but you shared a stage recently with Grant Cardone. We'll get to that, but let's talk about your background and why you have such a passion and why you teach around killer presentations.
Yeah. Well, no, first of all, before I dive into it, Jamie, I just want to thank you. I want to offer you congratulations, a couple things. I'm part of your Facebook group and I see the content that you put out and your willingness to come and serve and help and provide, value for your members and the masterminds and the topics and stuff like that. I just wanted to offer, it's killer what you're putting out and it's phenomenal. And I just want to offer you a big high five, congratulations, and a thank you as part of the real estate investor community. We need more people like Jamie around.
Wow, so thank you. That's with high esteem. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well, to be honest, how far do I go back in this whole thing? So we're going to talk about this in the context of delivering a presentation here. Now, I'm a firm believer in, and here's something that if you actually Google this, and arguably speaking, the wealthiest person on the face of the earth. If I was to say that to everybody listening here, if I said, who do you think is the wealthiest person? Jamie, we're going to play along here. If I was to say that, who do you think would be one of the wealthiest humans on earth right now?
So I'm going to play both sides of this. I'm going to say Jeff Bezos because his name comes right to mind, Amazon, right? But I'm going to say somebody like, she's not Mother Teresa. She's not alive, but Mother Teresa.
Yeah, it depends on how you measure wealth. Well, how about on maybe a net worth basis?
On a net worth basis, I go Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos? Yeah. One of the things that I would agree. Now, it's arguably who's 1, 2, 3, and then everybody shuffles around. But Warren Buffett, for me, is one of the ones that has probably had the longest track record of success and history and what he's created. He actually stated that when he gave a speech, and you can find, I believe it's on Inc. magazine, it was originally published, that he said that public speaking is the #1 skill that anybody could learn to be able to take your life to the next level, take your career up 50%. It's the one skill set that most people will not learn how to do, but that will be the one that'll grow your business the fastest, right?
That makes sense.
And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm going to share another quick story here before we really dive into some of the tactics and some of the strategies here. I did not learn I was never good. See, even now I stumble over my words still, and I've been doing this for 18 years and I've been studying it for 18 years. I actually probably have done more training on public speaking and presenting and communicating than I actually done on real estate investing. And I've done a lot of real estate investing, including training people for better part of 15 plus years, including coaching some of the highest performing people out there. My start did not start with, just some people just are gifted, right? And they get up on stage and they just know, like, I'm shy, I'm introverted. My first memory of being able to do a public speaking, now I'm going way back, like we're going, back into the Stone Ages here of, horse and carriage and buggy and stuff like that. I grew up in a small town in Canada, in Saskatchewan. So for some of you, if you're not familiar with that, just look above North Dakota and Minnesota. That's where I am. So cold, very, very cold. I remember my first experience really in this whole thing of public speaking. I would have been in grade 6. And I remember I was skipping down the hallway, skipping, when you're a kid and just free and everything's wonderful and you're skipping and you're having a tune and you're just I was singing. I was actually kind of singing at the time. And I remember like it was yesterday. I can actually smell it and I can feel the fear I had. The grade 8 teacher came out of his classroom and he said, "Russell, what are you doing? Why are you making all that noise?" And I was just going, and he said, "Get in here into my classroom right now." So I was grade 6. He pulled me into the grade 8 classroom and pulled me in front of the entire grade 8 classroom and said, "Now you're going to sing that song in front of everybody in this room."
Jeez.
And I'm sitting there going, now in that classroom was older kids, the ones that picked on you and bullied you. But in that classroom was also my sister.
Nope.
And I remember to this day, I physically wet my pants. Now, not talking metaphorically, I wet my pants. And I don't know if you could see it, but I knew I completely wet my pants. I froze. I completely just blanked out. And that killed the spirit in me to ever want to be expressive like that ever again. For the longest time, right? Then once I got into this whole thing of real estate, I would go to conferences. Like, unlike many people that are watching this, you would go to a conference and you would see the person on stage and you would see Jamie delivering his mastermind talks and your experts on tenant placements and your experts on inspections and buying multifamily and appraisers. And you sit there and you go to that conference. And if you were to ask anybody in that room, in the audience, who's the experts in the room? The first people they'd say, well, the guy on stage, the lady on stage, that person that delivered that presentation, the one that stood up there in front of a room full of people and delivered a message, they're the experts, they're the players, okay? So I made a point at that time, this was early on, this was around 2000, I made a point that I was going to master that skill. I wanted to be known as the person, now not from selfishly speaking, but in order to give back and help others. If I was to help more people, the best way I could help more people is to transform who I was, become an inspiring presenter, and then lo and behold, of doing that kind of work and that kind of training and transforming myself, people were attracted to me because of that work. People were attracted to me, and all of a sudden capital started flowing, and all of a sudden more investment partners, more deals, relationships, different things like that started coming because I took the time to do the work, hired the coach, read the books, and decided to master that one skill set of being able to deliver a presentation to an audience and be on stage in front of people.
I love that. I just had this discussion with a few other people the other night about the idea of often called like a thought leader platform. Kind of this, like, to be a voice, to have a presence, to build a brand, all of that stuff. And is it necessary? There's plenty of guys out there that are doing deals that it's not necessary. They've got large portfolios and are doing fine without being all over social media or speaking or whatever the case may be. But to your point, even if they don't have the big voice or they're out there and they're present, those guys get tapped to come speak and be the experts, right? So, to have that ability at some degree or at some level, to have the ability to be effective in the way you present, to be effective in messaging. I agree. It's integral all the way up to what a lot of people are doing to attract capital, to attract investors, which is things like this thought leadership platform. I firmly believe people invest in folks that they know, like, and trust. And, I have a nice community that I know, like, within my regular day-to-day life, but the only way to sort of, expand my brand and me and who I am and, like you said, give as much as I can to other people is through platforms like this, through speaking, through public engagements and all of that stuff. So that's a great message. So, all right. So how do you,
so go ahead there. So do you mind if I over deliver, Jamie, today? Is you and your audience okay if I over deliver?
Very much so.
Okay. So I'm going to do something. It's interesting whenever I do a presentation or even a webinar or just like what we're doing now, I often do what I call a timeout. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to teach you what I've been doing up to this point in the conversation. It's almost like the magician showing you the trick, and now you'll never look at a trick the same way, right? And anytime you ever watch anybody deliver a presentation, there's 3 levels you can watch it. Level 1, you can watch, well, what did they say? Like, what did they physically say? Number 2 is, how did they say it? Like, how did the person say it? How did they present it? How did they make eye contact? How did they do the lean in, look both ways, eyebrows? What did they do? Number 3 is, what did they say, how they said it, and what are you going to do with it? Those are the 3 ways you can watch any presentation. So I'm going to do a timeout. I'm actually going to go back, rewind this, and I'm going to share with you what I've done in this presentation up to this point. Okay?
Yeah.
Number one thing I did was, whenever I came on, the first thing I did was, the first words out of my mouth were thank you. Right? So understand this. This is your community, Jamie. They know, like, and trust, and they love you. I need to establish a connection with you as fast as possible so that you love me, then by natural extension, your audience says, this guy's okay. Right? This guy's okay. We can trust him because Jamie knows him. You need to establish that connection ASAP. Okay. The other thing I did very, very quickly was, it wasn't intent. Everything I've done so far has been intentional. Okay. I deflected that first question and I brought it back to you, and I gave you some heartfelt gratitude about the service and what you're doing and how you're helping and how you're showing up in the service and everything you're providing for your group and your community. It does a couple things. Number one is, you're nervous. I'm nervous, right? We're nervous on delivering a presentation. And what it does is it gets into our heart space. It gets into gratitude, and nervousness and gratitude cannot live in the same place at the same time.
I like that. That's awesome. Yes.
So I'm instantly trying to make a connection with everybody that's going to be watching this. And everybody's going to go, well, you're sharing all the secrets, Russ. Well, that's what I do. I love to teach. I want to over-deliver, right? And therein lies then the next part after that is, I told you a heartfelt story about how I kind of got my start. And could you not see that little boy wetting his pants in front of his sister in the grade 8 room in this small town in Saskatchewan? Like, you now 100%. Are rooting for me.
Yeah.
Right. And then I shared with you about how I've taken it to the next step. And that's where we're going to get into the next step of the conversation. And I'm going to do some teaching and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So everything. And what are we, like 8 minutes in?
Yeah.
10 minutes in? I've been I'm not trying to make this about myself. I'm trying to make this about serving and over delivering every person watching this. It is a master practitioner practicing what he's learned for the last almost 20 years.
I love
what you're witnessing.
That makes, I'm kind of circling this. So you have humanized everything for the first, whatever it is, 3, 5, 8, 10 minutes before you get into the tactical piece of it.
I need the audience, you watching.
Yeah.
I need you to fall in love with me as soon as possible, because
I fell in love with you the moment I saw you. Just so
pardon me?
I fell in love the moment I saw you.
And it's because of the haircut, right? So we get an affinity very quickly with the people that we're doing this, and it can happen on a podcast. That can happen in front of a stage of 100 people. It can happen on a stage with 1,500 people. You're sharing the stage with Grant Cardone, right? You need to establish a connection, because people won't remember what you said. Some will. People will remember how they felt after your presentation. They will remember the connection that they made with that person. And because of that connection, they'll say, you know what? I can do business with that person now, right? Or I trust that person to, you know what? I'm going to dive deep into that person's world. Holy moly, I like what they said. There was something about it. They got a YouTube channel. Let's go check out all their YouTube videos. Let's go check out their website. Man, there's just something resonated there. I don't know what, but it's something just resonated with that person.
I like that. I'm a big Gary Vee fan. I always like Gary Vee. Maybe it's because I'm from the Northeast. He's from the Northeast. So his sort of brash delivery, it just resonates with me. I don't know. But if you listen to what he's saying the same thing over and over and over again. And yet I could sit there and watch his videos over and over and over, because to your point, I relate to him. There's something about it. He humanizes everything. He's so relatable, but the message is not, it's not what the message I resonate with, but I get it. I know I could recite what he's saying, but I just attach to how
I think he's also given us permission in top cover, a military term, to be able to drop an F-bomb every once in a while too.
That's what I like about him. That's a good point. That's fair enough. You've read my mind.
Right. So that's just the connection. That's what you want to have, is you need to have that kind of connection, and you need to have that. And what I'm doing is I'm teaching you, but I'm also teaching you what I'm teaching you all at the same time. And I also use something very powerful. And I said earlier, do you guys mind if I over deliver? Mm-hmm. Right? I'm telling you very quickly that I'm going to over deliver with some amazing content. Mm-hmm. And I do another thing too. I do this quite a bit, especially in a stage presentation. You need to ask people to do something fairly fun and early, just to get an interactivity as opposed to just get the energy. So I will usually very quickly in my presentation, and I'm actually going to get everybody to do it right now. So guys, if you're watching this, Jamie, you got a phone handy there?
Right here.
Put it in selfie mode.
Selfie.
And I want you to take a selfie when we get a chance.
Okay.
Right? All right. Smile.
Got it.
Then we're going to take a selfie. And I will get people in the audience to do that, where they will get up, get the phone, do a selfie with the room, find a partner, do a selfie, find 2 more people and have some selfies with this, and then put it on your social media. I'm hanging out with 50 other like-minded real estate investors, and we're learning about the hottest trends in real estate investing on where to put your money to get the highest return possible. Something like that, right?
Awesome.
The teaching. But what I've done at the same time is I've asked the audience to stand. I've asked the audience to pull out their phone. I asked the audience to take a selfie. I asked the audience to find somebody and friend and joke and laugh, and you're going to have it's fun, right? So what I've truly have done, guys, now people sit there and go, well, you're manipulating us, Russ. No, this is fun. I actually have taken control of the audience, and I've asked them to do 5 things very simply and fun to do, right? And I've done it early. Because if there comes a time where you have a call to action, or a person that they have to go and they have to maybe download a free report or get a script or sign up for a newsletter or something, I've asked them to do some small fun things all along the way. And then when it comes time for the big ask at the end, they're going, yeah, I trust this guy. I'll absolutely sign up for his newsletter and give him my email address. Right?
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, it's not manipulative, to your point. It's interactive. You're just bringing, at the end of the day, you think about icebreakers and those sorts of things. The best ones are when people have to get up, move around, say hi. All of a sudden, the room just feels comfortable to everyone. So you are creating comfort in the room. And you're right. There's a direct benefit to that. People are more likely to respond to your call to action. But
but then I also tell people, I frame it in a lesson. One of the biggest lessons, and we'll talk more about, raising capital and stuff. One of the biggest problems most people face is nobody knows who you are. You don't have the attention. You don't have distribution of your message. So why aren't you live tweeting or live Facebooking or Instagramming the process that you're hanging out with other people in real estate investing? I do this with coaching with some of my clients. And they've told me back that they just posted places they've been, and people that were on their Facebook profile said, I didn't even know you were in real estate. Let's have a conversation, and led to a conversation, which then led to an investment partner coming to them. It's all about the capital of attention.
That is unbelievable. That is an amazing tactic, tip, philosophy that you've just dropped here. I mean, price of admission is been paid for and then some by just giving us that. That's incredible. Is there more?
Do we have a George Costanza moment that we end on a high note?
No, there's more. I know there's more, because that, I think you're just getting warmed up here, man.
Let's put it this way. I could go on for hours.
I bet.
But I do want to be mindful of time. So I'm actually going to, here's the crux that I'm going to give everybody here a framework for everybody to follow every time you're going to deliver a quote unquote stage presentation. And when I say stage presentation, it could be a conversation with a banker. It could be a conversation with your realtor. It could be a conversation in front of a room of 5 people that might want to invest with you. It could be a conversation in front of 1,500, 5,000, 50,000, 30,000 people. The framework does not change. And it could even be a conversation that you're going to have with your daughter to help them want to be able to clean up and do the dishes on a nightly basis.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So everybody, if you have your pen and paper, I hope you have a pen and paper, write out the acronym FIRE, F-I-R-E. Okay. This is the framework that you want to frame all your presentations and your communication. Okay. So the F in FIRE stands for feeling. Okay. What is the feeling you want people to leave with at the end of that, of your talk? Now, for example, in this case here, we know each other, Jamie. We've had some conversations, but we don't know each other that well yet. I live up in Canada. Like, we're probably as far away as possible on North America. If you were in Florida, maybe it'd be a little further away.
Fair enough. Yeah.
One of the feelings I want to have is I want to have a feeling of connection. I want to have a feeling of warmth and trust and inspiration and encouragement. And I want people to know that I give and come from a place of love. Okay, that's the feeling I want people to have. Okay, my intention. Now, most people, when they think about intention, they think about what's their intention. They want, I want 25 new leads from this, and then so I can put them into my funnel, and then I can close $100,000 in real estate. People are very clear about their intentions, but I challenge people is to think about the intentions of the other person. Right? What is your audience's intention? So if I sit here and I do this exercise every time I do one of these, my intention here today was to unveil for everybody watching some of the mystery behind delivering a presentation, right? I want to make it not as scary as, here's if some guy from Canada, bald heads, and if I was to stand up, I'm not a tall guy. If some guy like that in Canada can do this, holy moly, I can do that. I want to create I can do this moments for the audience.
I can do this moments. I like that. Yep.
Then the R stands for reflect upon or reflection. So I want the audience to think about something. For example, here today, I want you to think about that, public speaking and delivering a presentation is probably one of the most important skill sets I can learn to grow my business. And it is a trainable skill. Okay?
I love it. Yeah.
And the E in the execution, what is the execution? What is the action that you would like people to do at the end? And for example, here today, I would love if people would come to my website eventually at the end and check me out. And if you're interested, engage into something further. Watch my YouTube videos, watch a little bit more, get more in fire, get more inspiration. So feeling, intention, reflect upon, execution. Okay? Yeah. Then all wrapped up into a FIRE acronym, meaning bring some energy, bring the fire, right? People want to feel that energy. When you're delivering a presentation, it's a transference of energy, right? And I'm getting passionate and excited about that. And I'm transferring in, if we were having a more soulful conversation and a deep conversation about relationships and our family and the love and respect that we have and how we want to deepen our relationship, I would slow it down. I would calm it down. My tonality would change, right? You see how you can do that? That's all a trainable skill but the FIRE acronym of feeling, intention, reflection, and execution is the acronym that I frame every time I get onto a presentation or every time I have a conversation with another person.
I think it's brilliant. And the intention piece in particular, I love how you framed that, how you phrased that, because you're right. It is very, I slip into that. I do webinars once a month and it's like, man, I want 100 participants. Like, that's what I want. Right. Yeah. But thankfully, I have enough people in my sphere that change my mindset on some of the stuff. It's like, hey, if 10 people show up, you give them their best so that they get what they need. So that's a great point, because it's so easy to say what you want out of something. Yep.
Well, I'm going to give you, and then I'm going to give you one more, just to really deepen that one more time, is find stories and people in your life where you've maybe have helped and things have done. And then what you do is you create that as kind of a moment. Like, here's an example. There's this lady called Tembi Becca, who I call it, I need to create a Tembi moment for people. Okay. So Tembi came to this conference and she was you know, she walked into this room and she was shy. She had no idea. She felt really out of place. Like she was of a different color than most of the people and a different gender than most of the people in the room. And she came from Africa and literally landed in Canada, knew very few people. And she just kind of walked, and she felt so intimidated of doing that. So between my wife was working and she kind of walked up to her and she just kind of held her hand and walked her over to the name tag table and found her a spot and introduced her to a few other people and just made her feel really comfortable in being in that room. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lo and behold, Tembi has now gone on to creating unbelievable results where she's now helping women from Africa to be able to change their lives and building schools and all these kind of things. And she comes back and she says that going into that room and just meeting some friendly people that just reached out and helped her feel comfortable in a really uncomfortable situation. If she didn't get that feeling at that time, she might have went away, right? She might not have ever came back. Now, I don't disillusion myself that we're the reason why Tembi would have been a success no matter what, but it actually helped foster that growth and an inflection point for her. So back to the lesson, I sit there when I'm trying to meet with somebody and I say, I want to create a Tembi moment with this person where they feel comfortable and it's an inflection point that they may change their life and they may transform after this interaction.
That's amazing. Yeah. I like that. So much information here. So, you know, there's, of course, you and your message, fire, the Tembi moment, all of this stuff. So, you know, we could go for, like you said, forever. I'm just saying we got to probably wrap this at this point, but where can people learn more? I mean, you've given nuggets here, but there's a lot more behind this. I know. Where can people learn more about you, about your products, about your services, all of that stuff?
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. I've studied this for a better part of almost 20 years. And I've actually, interesting to know, I'm actually just starting to teach it for the first time. Of late. And it's actually, somebody challenged me a while ago of, you know, they boiled it right down and said, Russell, I want one skill set. I've subscribed to the One Thing, an amazing book by Gary Keller, The One Thing. Yeah. And somebody said, if I could just learn one thing, what is the one thing I could learn that would make everything else easy and unnecessary? Yep. And I just racked my brain. And I said, you know what, if you learn the skill of being able to communicate in public speaking, that will change everything in your world.
Well, so we're called Multifamily and More, and we'll get. I do want to get to, you know, where how we can find you, but I want to make this point. We're called Multifamily and More for a reason. Like, there's the multifamily component, but we like to sort of expand beyond that. There's lifestyle and all of that stuff within the brand. But if you take both parts of it, if you just want to apply, if you're here just because multifamily is all you care about, okay, you're going to have to present to investors. We've touched on that. You're going to have to connect with people so that they know, like, trust you and want to invest with you. This is, to your point, the one skill, the one thing that you need to be able to execute. If you get on a Zoom call with a bunch of investors and just go through the numbers only, you'll probably drag a few investors, but you're not going to get the force multiplier effect that you're looking for without the ability to do what FIRE talks about, in my opinion. So I think it's brilliant in that regard. So, and if you're on the other side of that, like, I'm not really in the presenting to investor side, this is a life skill more, right? This is a life skill that is transferable to, you said it, right? Can I get my kid to do the dishes? Can I communicate with my mother-in-law? Whatever. These are life skills for inspiring, motivating, creating action in folks, with the intention of it being to their benefit. So,
it's, I'll give you a practical example, then I will eventually answer your question.
No,
so
please,
let me answer the question first. RussellWestcott.com is where.
RussellWestcott.com.
Yeah, just my name, my personal brand. If you go there, you can find everything about me there. I'm actually part of your Facebook group. So guys, if you're in there, tag me on the Facebook group. I'm happy to help answer or deliver anything if you want. And I'm here to serve is really what my motto is. When I get up on a day-to-day basis is who can I serve today and how can I serve at a higher value, right? That's what my mission is. Now, one final thing is, if you sit there and you go, once you understand your gifts and your skill set and the lane that you're in, like, for example, I have a business partner in Edmonton who doesn't like to present and doesn't like to be the front person, but he's amazing at putting deals together. Like, he's putting together a 39-unit townhome development project that I could go on and on about the whole thing. And he's putting together all the details. And then he's saying, Russell, show your gifts and your superpower, get on some stages and get people excited about investing in this project.
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
perfect.
that's, we each know our lane about what we're doing on that. And it makes a perfect business relationship. We're both not trying to do each other's job, right?
My partner Benoit, I know he's watching this. He does actually some of the work on some of our systems and YouTube channel, all this stuff,
Yep.
right? That's exactly it. Like he's like, hey, funny guy, you go out there and you do all this presentation stuff. Just lock me in a basement. I'll be good. I'll take care of the spreadsheets and all that good stuff. So yeah, no, I
Right
completely
on.
get it.
Right on.
I completely get it. Well, hey,
Happy to help. If anyone reaches out, happy to help, happy to serve.
I appreciate it. This has been amazing, incredible content, folks. I hope you got a lot out of this. If you haven't yet, jump in, subscribe to our channel, get notifications. We deliver a new expert series every week. Russell, I really, really appreciate you being on, and thanks so much for all you've delivered today.
Right on. Happy to help, guys.
All right. Thank you.